Chapter 13 Echoes of the Massacre of Nemerov. Alarm near the Smithy. The influence of the Minsk yeshivas spread all around, for her Torah scholars established yeshivas in the surrounding districts of Smilovich and Smargun. Baruch learned all about the greatness of Minsk and her scholars during the Pesach that he spent at the home of his friend Eliezer Ruvain the smith in Dober Mizl. He also learned about the important role that his grandfather, who had lived in Minsk, had played there. Baruch suddenly felt a yearning to visit Minsk at the first opportunity. He, who had for so long run away from relatives, now felt a desire to come nearer to them. He had a craving to learn more about his mother, who had died when he was still a young child, but whom he remembered as a very wise and learned woman. Among the many things Baruch had learned during his stay at the smithy, about the world at large, and about various personalities in particular, not least was what he learned about the character of his host. He noticed how he generally conducted himself at his work, and outside it. Every Friday, it was the practice of Eliezer Ruvain to close his smithy, winter and summer, an hour before noon. The peasants, who in the main were his customers, were well aware of this practice of Ruvke, as they called him, and made sure that they came in good time on Friday mornings with their jobs. Whichever of them happened to be at the smithy on Fridays about this time was always invited by the smith to a drink and piece of cake. Let the peasants also appreciate that we have the holy and blessed Shabbos, he used to say. After everyone had departed, Eliezer Reuven used to go to the public baths and, on his return home, would rest for a couple of hours so that he should be rested and clean. Then he would apply himself to the preparations for Shabbos in a manner worthy of the occasion. Eliezer Reuven was tall and of very good appearance. He had a long white beard and always wore a happy smile which added greatly to his charm. When he was dressed for Shabbos, having discarded his weekday clothes and his weekday cares, he made a most pleasing impression upon all who saw him. On this particular Friday, which was Erev Shabbos Agadol, he had, as usual, stopped working fairly early and set off for the baths. He had taken with him his son-in-law's 9-year-old brother, Yisroel Chaim, who had also come for Pesach to the smith. Eliezer Reuven seemed gone rather longer than usual. When they began wondering at home what could have detained him, the little boy Yisroel Chaim came running in, looking upset. He said Eliezer Reuven had sent him home to tell them what had happened. While they were bathing, they heard a scream from somewhere in the baths. People started running to see what was the matter, and found that the Rav of the town, who was also at the baths, had collapsed. Eliezer Reuven and some others quickly got dressed, and while others tried to bring him back to consciousness, the smith and his companions ran to the Beis HaMedrash to say Tehillim and pray for the recovery of their beloved rabbi. They couldn't get any more information out of the frightened lad, so Baruch and one of the smith's son-in-law quickly set off for the town to see if they could get any more news of what had occurred. They found everyone very disturbed about the sick man, for everyone knew how important a person was the Rav of Dober Mizl, and what a remarkable past he had had. The Rav of Dober Mizl, whose name was Rabbi Zvulun Mordechai, had inherited his post as Rav from his father-in-law, Rabbi Gavriel. He was greatly beloved in his congregation, and when the news got around that he had become paralyzed while in the Merchatz that Friday of Erev Shabbos Agadol, everyone was terribly upset. Everybody prayed for his recovery, and while some went to the Beis HaMedrash to say Tehillim on his behalf, others went to the cemetery to pray at the graves of his parents. It was almost time for lighting the Shabbos candles, when word was passed around that the Rav had recovered consciousness and could speak, if with some difficulty, but his whole body remained paralyzed. As soon as the Rav could recognize the people around him, he sent for the Dayan, Rabbi David Moshe, and his grandson, Rabbi Shlomo. He asked that the latter should deliver the speech in shul on the following day, and asked the Dayan to help him with its preparation, for Shabbos Hagadol was an important occasion, and called for a very special speech befitting the great day. The Rav also managed to make them understand that he wanted them to do him the favor of getting a minion of Jews who should go to the Beis HaMedrash ask pardon of one of the Sefer Torah, wrap it in a talus, and bring it to his house, so that he should be able to daven with a minyan, which he had said he had never missed during his whole lifetime. The Dayan and his grandson complied with the Rav's request and went to the Beis Medrash. They were choosing a Sefer Torah known as the Rich Orphans Sefer Torah, or Rabbi Melech the Chassid's Sefer Torah. A remarkable story was bound up with it.